broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey everybody, and welcome to AFTERBUZZ TV. This is the after show for Castle, and tonight's episode was The Time of Our Lives. I'm your host, Heather Joy Smith, and with me tonight is...
Alexis McLeod, Torres. Hey everybody!
Woo-woo! Thanks everyone for joining us. And tonight, we got what we've been waiting for. Finally!
Yes!
Yes, so we will get into that a little bit later. But let's start out with this episode. Beckett gets a invitation to an ex-boyfriend's wedding coming up.
Yeah, which he's...
Ooh, that's juicy, right?
Yeah. I thought she was going to go.
I did too.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Although I kind of thought it was a little weird that she was even being invited.
Well, I mean, weren't they really close, though?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
You're right.
I'm trying to remember, because they said his name, and I distinctly remember a face, but it's not coming back to me. I might have to do my research on that one, but I mean... I don't know. I've been to exes' weddings before.
That's
it's
true.
really not that bad.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on how bad the breakup was.
That's true. So Castle and her have this little discussion about what would happen if they weren't together. You know, if they had never.
Where this was going.
Yeah, we saw where this was going, and you know, they both had their little opinions of what might happen if they weren't together. But you know, Castle got a little bit of a taste of what that was going to be like tonight in this episode.
I sat there and I was just like, please don't let this be some weird, I touched an artifact and now I'm in another universe. No, lo and behold, we were there. And at first I was like, okay, he just, you know, hit his head. Maybe he's in not another coma, but I mean like, you know, that he's in a dream state or something. But he thought of the same exact thing. But I liked certain things about his other universe. I don't know how you felt about it.
Yeah, it was interesting. I'm not quite sure how I feel about it either.
Yeah.
The one thing that we kept commenting on throughout the entire episode was how great Alexis's hair looks as a brunette.
So good. Like,
so good.
Like, what? So hot.
Yeah, we think she should permanently dye her hair that color.
I'm gonna say, as a fan, you should keep your hair that way.
Yeah.
I am on that boat.
So I like that. I like that.
Stamp of approval.
Yeah. I did like that Mama Shades had her whole acting career blow up, and she was this famous Broadway actress.
Signing autographs in the precinct. I mean, I could see Ryan being a huge Broadway fan, but not like to the point where he's like a fan of Mama Shades.
Exactly.
What? That was awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
I think there was a few little things that were thrown out too throughout the episode. Kate talking about going to one of Castle's book signings, one of the very first ones that he didn't even know about.
Yeah.
So there's little things thrown out here and there that, you know, we never heard about.
Yeah, that was
which
definitely
were kind
one of them.
Nice to hear.
Yeah, and and also the fact that they brought up even just more past things, like the fact that, you know, Kate never solved her mother's murder, and that's why, you know, she decided to pursue to be captain instead of being a homicide detective. That was really heartbreaking for me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I could see how that could change her whole career path. So I thought that was very interesting to see. I like that Espo and Lainey were still hitting it off, even though she was pregnant.
She was pregnant.
With whose baby? I'm going to assume it's not Espo's.
I'm going to assume not, too, just because of that little, like, eye flirtation thing they had going on. But it was almost, like, awkward. It, like, wasn't them being together.
Yeah, but it was so not smooth. Like, I felt like everybody in the room would have saw that.
Right.
But it was just Castle. And I was just like, does nobody else see this?
Yeah.
Anybody? Bueller? Like, it was there. I don't know. I thought that was so strange, but I also like that they brought that back up. But I didn't like that Ryan wasn't with Jenny. That hurt me a little bit.
Yeah.
I was like, but Jenny's the one. Why would you do that? But I mean, you know, I like that there was similarities, but they also changed a lot of stuff too, which I liked. Which Kate's style was on point.
Oh yeah.
Also, I was just like, was she wearing lace underneath that suit?
Yeah.
What's she doing under there? Looking fine.
I
Loved
know. Loved it. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about our murder mystery that we had tonight. It's was not quite a murder. I mean, it was a murder, but then it wasn't. I don't know.
I mean, they didn't really focus on it. They mostly focused on the fact that Castle was in a different time. I mean, I get it that it was, when we first saw it, we were just like, whoa, that started out, that was really violent. I mean, the show's already violent. It's been violent for the past 7 seasons, but that was like...
I felt like that was extreme tonight.
Yeah, like it just kind of just started. It was just like, oh, they're in a limo, and then, bang, bang. And I was like, what happened? That was it? And then another guy died. And it was like, and the fact that they brought up that he put his foot on his body, yeah, that was ridiculous. I was not expecting that. And I found that really... It really woke me up for the episode. I was like, oh, okay, that's how we're starting out. Great.
Yeah. And like you said, it wasn't really a focus of this episode, which is so different from all the other ones. It really focused on this parallel universe or whatever and the artifact, which tied in this murder. But there were so many, I feel like, still loose strings attached to this murder that we didn't really get answers for.
Yeah, like, okay, we figured out that it was at an old abandoned coal factory or something like that, and the owner wasn't doing so hot in the present time, but in the other universe, he was rich and doing well. So I was just like, okay, we didn't really touch base on that. We kind of just went, okay, he's successful now.
Yeah.
That's it. And we just moved on. I was like, okay, so what does this girl have to do with anything? Okay, it was her and her cousin or her brother or some sort of family member was switching. It was all over the place with the story because it was mostly focused on Kate and Castle. And I was just like, okay, that's great. I liked that. But we didn't put any thought into the whole case at all.
And then there was this Maria Sanchez that you just mentioned who had a fake artifact or something.
Which she didn't even explain how she got it, really. She kind of just... You know, she just said that she's still looking for the real one. Like, I don't know. I felt like there's like you said, there's a lot of loose ends and loose strings through it. And
it kind of went all over the place.
Yeah, because we were literally just focused on, like, what's Castle going to do next? And I liked his antics of, like, you know, throwing himself in water and, like, trying to wake himself up. And, of course, the only way to wake himself up was to die, which was...
crazy.
Kind of dark. But, I mean, I get it.
Which just kind of makes sense because when that bomb blew up or whatever it was, that's kind of how he got into the universe. So it's kind of like, okay, he had to kind of die to get in there and die to get out.
Yeah, and I understood that he had to go back to where the event all happened, which he ended up doing at the end of the episode. But I have to agree with you on that the whole case was just... I mean, they were still talking about it, but it was so in the background that I completely forgot about it because I was like, oh, yeah. This was be working on a case together. I didn't even think... I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
We were just focused on finding the artifact. And the whole time we were just sitting there going, Castle has so much leeway because he was getting back into the precinct every single time he got kicked out.
I mean, how does somebody get kicked out that many times, get thrown in jail, get out of jail, then get back in jail, and still... be able to kind of walk around and in places and everything.
I mean, it got to the point where they escorted him out. He was in the elevator and literally, like, I mean, in TV time, it was about, like, what, 10, 15 seconds where he was upstairs walking down the stairs and sneaking around. I was like, so what? This precinct just was like, okay, bye, Mr. Castle, bye. And then that was it? Like, you don't watch him walk away. You're just like, okay, he'll figure it out. He's a grown man.
I kind of feel like Kate was a little lenient on him, though, because she did kind of have, like...
some sort of...
like, a connection, or she, like, thought he was cute or something. Like,
I mean, she bit her lip when she was reading the book.
Yeah.
So either she is a fan and she just wasn't admitting it, or, that was, like, a weird connection. But especially when he brought up the fact that she had short hair 6 seasons ago, which I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Wow, good way to get in there. But at the same time, I was just like, this man has been getting into this precinct and crime scenes and whatever way too easily.
And knew way too much information that they didn't even know.
Yeah. You know, which I get it because technically he was there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like his research was much faster, with, like, the artifact and everything, than a whole precinct of people who were working on a case.
Right.
I thought that was a little strange.
It's a little strange.
I did like the fact that he's not a good writer. Or he is, but he's not. That. His book wasn't successful. He was reading and he's like, this is a bunch of crap.
Yeah. I think had, like, he not gotten out of this universe, he was on to writing his next Nikki Heat novel. And him and Kate probably would have ended up together anyway. So
yeah, and I think that would have. I like that he brought that back up later. That he was like, "Oh, I have a character that I'm using to base it off of you from what I've read in newspapers." And I was just like, "That would never work in real life.
No,
there's no way." But I also get it because I mean, we got to make the story go. But Yeah, Castle was up to some crazy antics.
He was,
tonight.
and he actually took her to a bar also.
I was just like, really?
Yeah, which they were trying to, catch the guy who had the artifact and all this stuff. With
he had a
rhino tattoo.
Yeah.
So I guess that was a college mascot. And so there was one bar in all of New York City that airs the games for that college, I guess. And so he took Kate there, like, on a date or whatever.
But I like how she said it, though. She was like, I thought this was a date.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. I see how it is. Because at first she didn't want to go.
No.
And then right after that, she was, it just came out of her mouth. And he was not even thinking about it. I mean, he was.
But he wasn't.
He was mostly there to make sure that he got what he needed. So it was definitely a typical Castle date, kind of, without adding more romance into it, because I thought it was going to be a little bit more mushier than that. Well, they saved the mush for the end.
They sure did. Let's also talk a little bit about Castle and his relationship with his daughter in this episode. It was weird, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I was not expecting that. And it was interesting to have her say, I live in LA now. I live with my mom. This is why I moved to LA, was to kind of get away from you.
And I was proud of her that she did change her version of Alexis for this episode. Which she had darker hair. She looked like she was wearing a little bit more heavier makeup. She seemed not very LA, but I mean, she seemed completely different, because I know that. In past seasons, she's very homely. She's very like, save the earth, I want to help people, kind of thing, which she brought up.
Yeah.
But I noticed that she was on her phone a lot. She was just making crazy assumptions that she usually doesn't really do.
No.
So I thought that was heartbreaking for me, because I've always liked Alexis's character, not because we have the same name, but the fact that her personality is really for the people, kind of. But this one, it was more kind of selfish, like, oh, I didn't, that's why I moved to LA, was because I can't deal with you. And I was like, whoa.
It was totally selfish.
Yeah. And the fact that, from day one in season 1, like, you could tell that Castle and his daughter, Alexis, always had a great relationship. Like, from beginning, they were always being able to, like, go on scooters and get ice cream, and, just... They would do anything for each other. So the fact of seeing that their actual distance, even from the fact that she wouldn't even come down the stairs.
Yeah.
Like, that was really tough for me to watch as, like, a huge, like, been following from season 1 Castle fan. I was like, oh, I don't like that.
And I kind of like that he did go and say, why are we not, as close as we should be? Because in his world, they're super close. And in this world, they're not.
Everything.
And he's like, what on earth did I do to make this happen? And so it was interesting to see her say, well, you were upset or whatever from your book and all this stuff. And kind of see how that really took a toll on their relationship. And clearly it took a toll on his relationship with his mother, too, because, they share the responsibilities of the house payment and everything. And the apartment, clearly mom was paying for it.
For everything. Yeah, I mean, the furniture was, it's not gaudy, but holy moly. Yeah. That was
it was a little over the top,
But I mean, that's how Mama Shade is.
That's how she is.
Over the top.
And she, she made a point to say, you spent all your savings. You got rid of all your money.
What was it, on bimbos and horse races or something? I was like, wow.
Speaking of which, his girlfriend in the episode, oh my gosh, was she a hot mess or what?
I was just sitting there going, who's that?
And he even was like, get away from me. Who are you?
And then she's like, oh, is that what we're doing? I was like, oh, honey, please go put some clothes back on.
Stop.
Just leave.
Stop.
Just bye, Felicia.
Yeah, right.
That was really weird. I was hoping that it was going to be a character that we knew, but it was completely just like I think they were only seeing each other for like a few weeks or something like that. And I was like, Castle.
I mean, how crazy if that would have been, though. This is so off, but like, if it would have been Lainey and that was his kid that she was pregnant, I mean, would that thrown everybody off or what?
I'm not gonna lie, that would have been fantastic.
That would have been so good, right?
I would have been like, wait, pump the brakes. Hold on. You and Lainey? No. Well, you know what? That would actually be really
it could
good.
happen. I mean, whatever.
It could. That would be great. I think I would love to see, because I mean, Espa already had like major beef with him already.
Right?
That would have been great. I think it would have been awesome. Someone needs to make that. Someone makes that into a fan fiction. I'm going to read it.
Yeah.
I need that to happen.
That would have been so good. So before we go on, we want to make sure to remind everybody, if you go onto iTunes to rate us 5 stars, And also, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to comment and ask us questions, and we check those. And yeah, say hello to us. We'll be on there. Yay! Okay, so now let's get into the main event of this entire episode. The wedding.
So happy.
It finally has happened, everybody.
I love that.
Finally has happened.
The hashtag, which was
casket at last.
Yes, that was so good. I love it. Just like came up at the very end where they're like, "You may now kiss the bride." I was like, "Ah!"
Yeah.
Tweeting that everywhere, and I was reading that everyone was like, "Finally!" And it was so great.
I wasn't expecting a wedding like that. I kind of expected still the big wedding.
I'm sad that it didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I wrote that, I don't have my notes out, but I wrote it, I actually tweeted it out that I said that I'm like, oh, I kind of miss her flowy dress, but I mean, it's very Kate.
Oh, yeah, she looked great still.
Oh, no, she looked fantastic.
Yeah.
They all did. I mean, green screen was kind of much,
that
but I
was a little
mean,
bit, yeah.
I'll let that one slide. But yeah, it was definitely not a rushed wedding, but it was kind of like, we need to do this right now. No need to, for food and all this crazy stuff. But I am kind of sad. I wanted to see her all like completely dolled up and walk down a church aisle and a lake. Was that like a lakefront kind of?
I don't know what that was.
I don't know. It was strange.
It was strange.
But I mean, I'm glad they finally got it out of the way.
Yeah.
I'm happy that it's finally 7 seasons later. It has finally happened, and she has become Catherine Castle.
Catherine Castle.
So weird.
I
Kate
love
Castle, but
Kate
I love
Castle.
it. Yeah.
Aww.
Yeah, I love it.
So what are your predictions? Let's get into
Yeah.
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
It's so tough because the next episode looks like it's gonna be so cheesy.
I was thinking the same thing.
I
I'm
mean-
a little disappointed in the preview.
I mean, it brings back some weird nostalgia for me because my first anything of Nathan Fillion, who plays Castle, was Firefly, which was a Joss Whedon space western, and it was made around the time when Buffy came out, and it was kind of cool to see him in back in his like western like breeches and everything like that, but now that it's here, it's really weird to see. I mean, I think it's gonna be bliss for a little bit. I obviously know they're gonna get into weird antics, while they're on their honeymoon at a dude ranch. I mean, Richard Castle, it makes sense for him to have it there because he's just that type of guy. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, I kind of wanted them to be like on a beach.
I was thinking the same thing. I wanted the beach, the romance. Like, you've had this rough last 2 months. Go enjoy your honeymoon.
I mean, it doesn't have to be the Hamptons. It didn't have to be that, but I mean, like Hawaii maybe, or like New Zealand or something warm. Not sitting there in the desert shooting off guns. You guys get to do that on a daily basis,
right?
Like, I don't know. So, my prediction is that next episode's gonna be extremely cheesy, pulling out all the antics, kind of like how they were in the Hamptons, but probably less. Well, I mean, there's gonna be a case. I'm gonna assume.
Yeah.
But it's probably not gonna be as dramatic as any of the other episodes prior. Well, what do you think?
I mean, I kind of hope that the case doesn't take over the episode, which is weird to say because that's what the show is all about.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like, Castle and Beckett need to have...
They need a break.
They need a break.
Yeah.
And I don't want Esposito and Ryan on their honeymoon.
God, can you... No, I bet you they're not going to be physically there, but they're probably going to be calling them. Just like last time when they're in the Hamptons, they're going to be, sending them stuff through their phones. I'm like, no, you're supposed to be on a mini vacation. Like, go out, go have fun, get, drinks. And yeah, that's why I think it would have been really cute. And also to see, like, I mean, she's going to look hot in her cowgirl outfit, but I think... it'll be even cooler to see her like in a bikini and like laying in the sun. Having a good time. I don't know.
Watch her like out in this little like Western thing, and they start having like their little Western. I don't know what you do at a Western. I really don't know.
I don't know. Whatever. Little campfires, romantic.
And then
thing.
Esposito and Ryan are calling. We have this murder here in New York City. I need your help with it.
I really hope that that's not how that works, but I have a bad feeling that it's probably going to turn out that way. I don't know. But, I mean, I'm hoping now that we've hit that ending that maybe that we'll start to get back into the Castle case. Because now we finally have the wedding. They're going to have their honeymoon. All the comedy's going to get in there. And then right after, it's going to be
back into the real Castle.
So that's what I'm hoping. Get all the funny stuff out of the way, and then back in the crazy, dramatic Castle story.
I agree.
I think that's what my main prediction's going to be.
Yeah. So everybody out there, make sure to tweet us your predictions as well. And where can they find you on social media?
You can find me on Instagram and on Twitter at atorres890. That's ATORRES 890. Please tweet me any of your theories or predictions because I love reading them and they're awesome.
Yeah. You can find me on Instagram and on Twitter at Heather Joy Smith. And we will see you guys all back here in 1 week.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Bye, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.